The rain had been falling since morning, soft at first, then merciless, sheets of silver slicing through the quiet estate like memories that refused to fade. The sky hung low and bruised, a dull gray mirror to the world below. Water pooled near the marble driveway, where a black Mercedes stood gleaming despite the storm. Through the blur of raindrops on the window, Adrian Vale, a man of perfect composure in a navy blue suit, watched the world with the detached stillness of someone who had everything except peace. The faint hum of the car engine filled the air, but inside, he heard only silence. He was supposed to attend a board meeting in the city, yet his gaze had fixed on a figure by the old oak tree across the lawn. A young woman sat there, drenched to the bone, her blue uniform clinging to her trembling frame, her dark hair plastered to her face. In her hands was a small lunchbox, white plastic, cracked at the hinge. She tried to eat, but her hands shook so badly that half the food spilled into the mud. And then she began to cry. Raindrops merged with her tears, her shoulders heaving silently as she lifted a spoonful of rice to her lips. Adrian frowned, something uneasy stirring within him. That was Mira, his maid, quiet, efficient, invisible, the kind of person no one really saw. He had noticed her only in fragments, folding sheets, cleaning the glass table, vanishing before anyone spoke to her. But now, under the cold rain, she seemed like the only real thing in this painted world. He stepped out of the car. Rain struck his polished shoes, the sound crisp and clear, like guilt taking form. He hesitated, then walked toward her, each step slower than the last. Before we continue, his voice echoed faintly in his own mind, as if narrating the moment. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. It really helps us bring you more heartfelt stories like this one. It was a strange, fleeting whisper between heartbeats, a call to remember kindness before the storm swept it away. Why are you sitting out here? Adrian's voice broke the rhythm of the rain. Mira startled, wiping her eyes quickly. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't want to dirty the servant's kitchen. The floor was just cleaned. You're eating in the rain. She forced a small, broken laugh. It's fine, sir. The rain's clean. He stood there, the absurdity cutting through him like a blade. Her soaked uniform clung to her arms. Her lunchbox was filled with nothing but plain rice and beans. The sight tightened his chest. You could have eaten inside. I didn't think I was allowed. Adrian had no answer for that. Somewhere behind him, thunder rolled across the gray sky like a slow confession. He turned back toward the mansion, but his feet refused to move. Something about her, the quiet dignity, the shame of crying in silence, felt painfully familiar. Where are your gloves? He asked, though it didn't matter. I sold them, she said softly, for my brother's medicine. The wind shifted. He looked at her, really looked this time, at her trembling hands, the fading bruise near her wrist she'd tried to hide, the way she clutched that lunchbox like it was her last belonging. He felt the weight of years pressing on his chest. The rain softened, but his heart didn't. Do you have an umbrella? She shook her head. I didn't want to take one from the house. They're expensive. He exhaled sharply, then took off his jacket, the tailored navy fabric instantly soaking through, and placed it over her shoulders. Her lips parted in shock. Sir, I can't. Just take it, he said. There was a long silence, the kind that stretches between two lives that were never meant to meet. Do you always eat alone? He asked. She hesitated. Most days, yes. People don't like sitting with the help. Her voice cracked at the end, and for the first time he saw not a servant, but a human being. Fragile, kind, invisible in a world that only looked up, never down. As she looked away, a memory began to flicker in his mind. A boy sitting on a broken step, eating stale bread under the same kind of rain. His clothes had been torn, his stomach empty, but his sister had given him her share. Her name had been Anna. She had died when he was 12, pneumonia, the doctor said. Back then, his father had been rich too, and cruel. The rain blurred the edges of the present as the memory swallowed him whole. Eat properly, his sister's voice echoed in his mind. You're growing. But you'll be hungry. I'll be fine, she'd smiled, tucking her wet hair behind her ear, just like Mira did now. He blinked hard, the image overlapping. For a moment he couldn't breathe. When he spoke again, his voice was rough. "Mira, how long have you worked here?" "Almost a year, sir, and no one ever told you to eat inside?" She smiled faintly, a tired, defeated kind of smile. "No one ever noticed." The words hit him harder than thunder. He had built his empire on attention to detail, numbers, contracts, figures, yet he hadn't noticed the simplest human thing. Another person's quiet suffering right under his roof. He knelt down slowly beside her, mud soaking into his trousers. "Tell me about your brother," he said softly. Her eyes widened at the kindness in his tone. "He's 16, has a weak heart. We live in the workers' quarters and medicine's expensive. I take extra shifts when I can." "And your parents?" "They died years ago." Adrian's throat tightened. The rain had stopped now, leaving the world in a hush. Only the sound of dripping leaves and distant thunder remained. He wanted to say something, to apologize, to comfort, but words felt useless in the face of such quiet resilience. So he didn't speak. He simply opened the car door and said, "Come inside, you'll catch a cold." She hesitated, looking down at her muddy shoes. "I'll ruin the seat." "Let me worry about that," he said gently. Inside the car, warmth wrapped around her like an embrace she hadn't felt in years. She sat stiffly, clutching her lunchbox, unsure if she was even allowed to breathe too loudly. Adrian started the car but didn't drive. He just sat there, staring at the wipers sweeping away rain, his jaw tight. "Why didn't you tell anyone about your brother?" he asked quietly. "I didn't want to lose my job. People don't like problems in their staff." Her voice broke again, softer this time, like something fragile giving way. He turned toward her. "You won't lose it, not anymore." She looked up, uncertain if she had heard him right. He nodded once. "I'll handle your brother's treatment. And you're not eating outside again. Ever." The tears came fast then, not from sadness, but from the unbearable relief of being seen. "Sir, I can't let you." "You're not letting me. I'm doing it because I should have noticed sooner." Outside, the rain began again, softer this time, more forgiving. Mira whispered, "Thank you." He smiled faintly. "Thank you for reminding me what matters." The world seemed to exhale around them. The mansion lights flickered on in the distance, golden against the gray horizon, and for the first time in years, Adrian Vale felt something break open inside him. Not pain, but the quiet rebirth of humanity, greater than if this story has touched your heart. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that remind us of the power of kindness. Weeks passed. The rain gave way to sunlight. Mira's brother received treatment, and slowly color returned to her face. She laughed again, shyly, her once weary eyes now alive. Adrian often found her reading by the garden steps after work, sunlight falling on her wet hair after watering the plants. He never told her, but every time he saw her smile, he thought of Anna, and whispered a silent thank you. Sometimes redemption doesn't come in grand gestures, but in quiet acts. A jacket shared in the rain, a meal noticed too late, a heart that learns to care again. As the camera pulls back, the last image lingers. A man in a navy blue suit standing under a tree, watching a girl in a blue uniform smile under the same sky that once broke her. The rain had stopped, but the world had changed. Kindness doesn't cost much, but its silence can save a soul. The smallest act of noticing someone can heal what life forgot to mend.